Greetings and salutations. I just got back from the theatre after seeing It Chapter 2 for the second time, and I have some things to say. First of all, let's get it over with. I fucking won. We fucking won. We did it, Reddies. We did it. We won. My mind, it amazes me. Over a year ago, I posted like the Reddie video, and before that I did the Eddie one, and you know what? I was fucking right. Yeah, so everyone, so many people told me I was overanalyzing things, so many people told me I was reading too much into it. Well, you know what? The writers all were like, no, this is something we always planned because this is something that happens in the book. So, I was right. You should have listened to me. If you didn't, if you did, thank you. Join the party. We won. Also, I just want to say, yes, I have worn the sweater before in a video, and no, you're not allowed to comment on that. I should have said this before because I just spoiled something, but this video is going to be filled with spoilers. I'm not going to do a full review thing. I'm just going to give like my overall thoughts about the movie sort of thing, because I went and saw it a second time to try and gather more cohesive thoughts about this film before talking about it, but I still don't have the most cohesive thoughts about it, so I'm just going to do a very general thing. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It is a really, really fun movie. I don't think it's a perfect film. I don't think it's close to being a perfect film, but I think it is really, really fun, and the things it does well, it does so well, particularly the emotional beats, especially in the end of the film. This film overall, I like it. I had a really fun time both times watching it. I had a better time watching it for the second time because the first time, anytime there was something I didn't like, it was my first time experiencing those things that I didn't like, whereas the second time I'd kind of already made my peace with them. And those are very little things. There's like when it first flashes back to Bill and Richie fighting in the first film, it like flashes red, and I hate that. It's just this weird directing choice, and I'm sure it's there for a reason. I just don't like it. I don't like that it begins with the flashback with like the blood promise, because I feel like that was probably a studio decision to put that in there, but I feel like you should have enough faith in your audience that we're seeing a film called It Chapter 2. We've all seen the first movie. We know what's happening. We know why we're here. We know why these people are getting the phone calls. I think it would have been more impactful to start with the Adrian scene the way that the first film just threw you right into that Georgie scene. I also think the writing in this film can be messy at times, particularly the first act is so rushed, and again, I think that's just, they need to communicate so much information to the audience because they went with more of the weird book shit than I thought they were going to go with. It's hard to communicate all of that to the audience, and you need to give a shit ton of exposition, and I just think, yeah, the first act kind of feels rushed, and some of the pacing in the film just feels kind of off, but I don't think that hinders the film that much, honestly. I don't think any of that does. I still had a really fun time. My mum had a really fun time. My friends, who I saw it with last week, had a really fun time. The worst parts of this movie for me, one was the Beverly scene with Tom, her husband. If you don't know, I don't know if they actually call him Tom Rogan in this film. They say Rogan Marsh closet stuff. I don't know if they actually call him Tom. The scene with Beverly and her husband Tom is so graphic. The domestic violence is so graphic, and I don't think it should have been, because it doesn't really have a payoff. In the novel, he beats her brutally as well, which he does in the film, but in the novel, in that bit where she fights back before she leaves, it's been a couple years since I read the novel, so please forgive me if I get anything wrong, but from memory, she beats the shit out of him in retaliation. Like when she leaves, like she's throwing like a fucking dresser on him or something, and like a mirror, like I think she grabbed the belt and like hit him in the dick or something. Like she's retaliating, and he's getting the shit beat, like the living shit beat out of him, and that's more of an immediate payoff where, yeah, it's graphic and awful that he hurts her, but we immediately get this payoff of her being like, no, fuck you. And then he plays a bigger role in the novel where he, follows her back to Derry, and then he gets killed by Pennywise, and it's a lovely moment, and it's this nice little payoff where we see him be horrible, but we get this payoff of seeing him suffer for it. Whereas in this film, it doesn't really feel like we do that. When she fights back, she just like, I think she kicks him, which is a parallel with her father, and then hits him with a photo frame and then runs out, and that's kind of it. And it doesn't feel like enough payoff to justify that scene being so graphic, because I know that if anyone who suffered from domestic abuse watched that scene, that would probably be incredibly triggering. Speaking of triggering things, the Adrian scene it's difficult to watch. I was pretty okay with it the first time I saw it, surprisingly, but I was holding like two of my best friends' hands during it, whereas I saw it again today with my mum and was just having like a more singular experience, and I nearly had a panic attack in the theatre. It's rough, it's brutal, it's graphic, and it's done so for a reason, the same reason why it is so much so the same in the novel, where it is showing this human hatred. The novel was inspired by a hate crime in Stephen King's hometown, which is what, you know, inspired the Adrian scene, the opening scene of the novel and the opening scene of this film. And it's this portrayal of small town horror, small town mindsets, not saying that this is that these mindsets are exclusive to small towns, or that they you know, are all in all small towns. They're not, but it is showing that this mindset is still present in our society, that we're no longer, you know, the opening of the novel is in the 80s. 80s small town homophobia is more present than it will be in today's society, but it is still present. It is still something we need to address and tackle, and we need to acknowledge that it still happens, and that is why this scene is as graphic as it was in the novel. But it's hard to watch. It is so difficult to watch. In that Adrian scene, we do still get the parallel to Eddie with the inhaler. In the novel, it's more of that relationship with Adrian and I forget his partner's name, but their relationship in the book is quite parallel to Richie and Eddie in the way that his partner calls him like Adrian my love, and then Richie calls Eddie my love, and you have the asthma. They don't go to quite that same extent, but they do still have that parallel with Adrian having asthma, and they very clearly making a note of he pulls out his inhaler and his boyfriend yells like, leave him alone, he has asthma. Like, they still make a point of that. Besides that scene, I don't think this movie is scary. I don't think the first one was like terrifying. I was quite unsettled watching it in the cinema because jump scares tend to get me quite bad, and the first one had a lot of really good jump scares. This one, a lot of it was like CGI monster creature things, which I just don't find scary personally. Creature features have never freaked me out. I'm not like a monster. I'm not scared of monsters. I'm more scared of like human fears. That's why the adult fears in the novel really unsettled me, I think. I want to say that the cast in this film are incredible. As everyone who's seen it probably knows, Bill Hader is a standout. Bill Hader is brilliant in absolutely everything he's in. If you guys haven't watched Barry, go watch Barry. Bill Hader in this film is just incredible. He's so funny. Like, I can't think of a better comedic actor that's working right now than Bill Hader, honestly. I am such a big fan of his. The emotional beats that he has in this film are, oh boy, do they hit home. Whether it be the sexuality stuff or the Eddie stuff, or the Stan stuff, just but I want to give a really good shout out. I think Jay Ryan is phenomenal in this film as well. James is really, really outstanding. Jessica Chastain is as brilliant as ever. God, I love her so much. Isaiah is really good too. Andy Bean in the few short scenes we see of him, he does a really good job too. James McAvoy is always brilliant, and he's brilliant again in this. I want to say a thank you for to all the writers and the directors for finally giving me a proper beep Richie. We get one beep Richie in this film that's not said by Pennywise. It is said by Beverly when he makes a dumb joke. Thank you. I still do think my favorite scene in this film is the Chinese restaurant scene. I love seeing the losers just be bonding and just be themselves and be friends and like rebuild these relationships. And I know that was like the first things they filmed with the adult cast, so they were really like bonding, and a lot of it was just, you know, ad-libbed stuff apparently. I just think, yeah, that the reason why this film these films are so successful, and the reason why the novel is so brilliant, is because it's because of the characters. You love the characters and you care about the characters, and the character work drives these stories. And so I think that's the standout scene in this film for me. That and the like last 10 minutes. I really enjoyed the whole like joke about how, you know, them talking about how Bill can't write endings, because that's a criticism that Stephen King gets all the time, and it was just so fun. And then having Stephen King in his cameo like be a part of that joke, it was great. It was I loved it so much. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. This film is so funny. I think it may be funnier than the first, and that's saying something. I don't know, that's just, again, Bill Hader's the standout for this, but it's so fucking funny. Like James in the scene where Eddie gets stabbed in the face and he just is like as he pulls the like shower curtain back, that's great. And then he walks out and he's just like, and like he opens his mouth and blood falls out his mouth and he's just like, Henry's in my room. Like it's so good, it's so funny. That little bit with the Pomeranian is really funny. This whole film is so fucking funny. I really, really love it, and that's another reason why I think like you won't have a bad time watching this. Getting into the Ready stuff, something that bothered me a little bit with the Ready stuff the first time I watched it was that Richie's experience with his sexuality in this film is basically all of Eddie's stuff with his sexuality in the novel. Him being called a fairy and stuff like that is all by Henry. That's something that like that happens to Eddie in the novel. Having him feel kind of out of place and having him be taunted by Pennywise in a way that's hinting at sexuality, those are things that happen to Eddie in the novel, and so I was a little disappointed to see that storyline be taken away from Eddie, because Eddie is one of my two favourite characters. Him and Bev, mwah, chef's kiss. I think I was a little disappointed the first time seeing it, see that be taken away from him, the same way that I was quite disappointed when I saw the first film and a lot of Mike's character was given to Ben. But I've made peace with it now. I think it makes a more, I get that from a like film standpoint, it was probably the smarter decision, because in the book again, the character who you feel has feelings for the other more so with Richie towards Eddie, you only get that hint at Eddie feeling the same really in like his death, and in the like man, he hated it when he called him Eds, but he sort of liked it too. It was very few and far between where like it felt like Eddie returned the feelings, but Eddie had the struggle with sexuality like overarching through the story. So I get that it makes more sense to just kind of give the character who, you know, shows feelings towards another boy like more of the sexuality storyline. I get that. I've made peace with it now, and I think Bill Hader and Finn in that scene in the arcade do it brilliantly. That scene in the arcade is also super hard to watch, just the look on Finn's face, on Richie's face as he does that. Finn Wolfhard does that beautifully. That's really, that's hard to watch too. That's really upsetting. That hits really close to home. That's, yeah. Again, just something that kind of bothered me the first time I saw this movie, but I've kind of made peace as well with. Eddie in the book is like one of the bravest characters, just like outwardly brave. You know, you have the whole like quote about him like, I'm doing the mashed potatoes on him and I have a fucking broken arm, when he's like shading the other guys for not like putting in enough effort in the fight with Pennywise. He kills Henry Bowers himself in the novel. He's like a really outwardly brave character in the novel, and I get that again, putting himself in danger to save Richie in this film has a bigger payoff when you have him like freezing up beforehand, and him the whole time, anytime he's in danger, just kind of like being like, I want to go home, I don't want to be here. That causes for a bigger emotional payoff. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like this, but I have made peace for it. I enjoyed this film more so the second time round, because all of the little problems I had with it, I had made peace with over the like 3 days since I saw it the last time to now. Mike's character, I'm very glad that they put him in the final battle, because he is not in the final battle in the novel. So I'm very, very glad that they included him in that in the film, although I still didn't love the whole, I get why they made him kind of like, you have that line from Pennywise being like, you're a madman thing, like I get it, it's because he stayed in Derry, he's been there for 27 years, that's had an effect on his mental health. I don't, sometimes I just feel like they've mistreated Mike's character in these films, because they did in the first film, where he was barely there. He had like nothing to do in the first film, and I think because of that, anytime he does anything, I'm like, please be careful with him, because again, he was one of my favourite characters in the novel. I really loved him, and he was the main narrator through the novel as well. It was weird not having him be in the first film that much. So I'm glad that they included him in the final battle, even though that then took away from Henry Bowers, I think, a little bit, because in the book, Henry Bowers is like the threat when they're adults. Like anytime, like I was more scared of like Henry Bowers showing up than Pennywise was, because Henry Bowers, you know, in the book, Pennywise helps break him out of captivity. That's probably a really insensitive word to use, but helps break him out, and then he like goes and attacks Mike in the library to the point where Mike is hospitalized. Like he can't go and participate in the final battle in the novel, because like Henry's fucked him up, and then Henry shows up in Eddie's hotel room and like re-breaks Eddie's arm, and there's this brutal fight between them, and then that's a huge moment for Eddie when he kills him. So Henry Bowers feels like less of a threat in this film, but I'm not that mad about it, because it let us have Mike in the final battle. I don't want to talk about the Eddie death scene, because fuck, when he gets when Eddie gets stabbed right after he's thrown the thing through, and he just looks down in his wound and he looks up and he just goes and he just says like Richie, like Rich, and he's so scared, and then he gets like flung off, and it's hard to watch a character that you care about be so scared of dying. I was quite bothered by the change in his last words, or what the last words that we see from him. The first time I watched it, because in the, you know, in the book, that those last words are the hint at him feeling the same. But I think, after thinking about it, I think him saying I fucked your mum is kind of the same sort of thing. In the book, you know, Richie calling him Ed does this little inside joke. It's this back and forth that it's special to the two of them. In the films, we don't have that, but we do have Richie continually through both movies always making jokes about Eddie's mum, and so Eddie having this payback joke, it feels like, you know, it's this private moment sort of thing between them two, and it's in the same tone. It's just less suggestive of him feeling the same way, although I do think through you know, Eddie finding his bravery to save Richie, we do have those hints that like this wasn't a one-sided thing from Richie. Richie's breakdown over his body is hard to watch. Bill Hader's so talented, but when he comes back and all the other losers have, you know, Eddie's dead and the other losers all know it, and Richie's like, no, he's just hurt really bad, like we need to help him, and he's clinging to his body, like he's fully clinging, and he's just saying like we need to help him, and he's so upset about it. And then, you know, they leave and the house is caving in and he's just screaming Eddie over and over again, and I'm gonna start crying, fuck this movie. And then you have the quarry scene, which I love that the shot compositions of like how Bev jumping and then them swimming is like the same. I love that. You know, Richie's the character who always makes a joke out of every situation, especially in this film. You have this running theme of him trying to add some levity to every situation, of him making a joke out of all the really tense emotion, all the you know, bad moments. That's when he makes his jokes. That's when he is more so the comedic relief, because he feels that he has to do that. That's his purpose. He is there to be lighthearted and to add some levity. And so when you have this scene of all the other losers trying to make jokes about Eddie and about how Eddie would have hated them cleaning themselves off in dirty water, and then they look to Richie to probably make another joke, and he's just sobbing. He's fully breaking down, and it's the first time we really see Richie like that. We saw him cry a bit over Stan in the first film, but we've never seen him like this. And he doesn't have a joke to make, and they all crowd around him and hug him like they did Bill in the first film, and it's a lovely parallel. And then he makes a great joke about how he can't see who any of them are because he's not wearing his glasses, and I felt that. And then you go and you have the carving scene where he's recarving Arnie, and that shit hurts. That shit hurts. Oh my god. And this was the book, in the moment in the book that really got me. In the book only Beverly sees it, but in this all of them see it, and it's they look into the reflection of, I think it's the ice cream shop, but it pans around and then it turns into a flashback of them all as kids, and Eddie and Stan are there with them, and and the music, the blood oath, it's playing over, and I don't know, that song, that piece of music is my actual kryptonite. I can't listen to it without crying. It just invokes something in me. And so them putting that piece of music over it is fucking mean. But then you have Stan's letter and the flashes of all of them, and, you know, them in their future, and Bev's with Ben, and she's finally letting herself be loved by someone who would never hurt her, and they have a dog, and they're both really fucking hot, and you see all of them, and they're not forgetting, and I'm so happy that they don't forget after all of this in the film, because in the novel they all fucking forget in the end anyway, and it sucks. And there's this part where, like, I think it's Richie and Bill on the phone and they can't remember Stan's name or Eddie's name or something. I can't remember. I need to reread, but it hurts me deeply. It like physically hurts me in my soul. The kids start saying it, and it ends on the line like, don't forget that we're losers or something, and I'm fuck. I don't know, man. This story, these characters, it means a lot to me. This story came into my life when I was in like a shitty place where I didn't feel that I had a you know, I didn't feel like I had a losers club. I felt a bit like Ben before he meets the other kids, and it just, the characters meant a lot to me. I dyed my hair ginger at one point because I wanted to like embody the strength that I felt Bev had. Like I was fully, this story got me through a lot. I made so many friends through loving this book and these films, and it sucks that it's over now, and like just the ending really hits home, I guess. And I don't want to start fucking crying like a little bitch. Something I will say, in the like, I know your secret, your dirty little secret scene, there's this, they change the color grading, and they like take out, I don't know, they make like blues and reds stand out more. I don't know what colors they really take out, like greens and yellows I guess they take out. And I'm sure that's done for a reason, but I can't figure out why. So if I have any like film theory people who want to like let me know in the comments why they think that was done. And I was thinking like, is it paralleled, because when Richie's carving the R and E into the bridge, there's quite a lot of yellow overtones, but they're present through a lot of the film. So I don't think it's just singularly to, you know, it's a parallel to that specific scene too. I don't know, can't figure out why it's there. Someone please help me figure it out. I think I want to reread the book now. If I do, I'm going to do a full analysis video of like everything gay in it, which will be a long video. I may not do it because I may not reread it, but I want to now, having seen this film, and I'm seeing it again tomorrow. I love putting myself through pain. Oh my god, fuck, I just remembered like early last year, I like DM'd Andy Machete, the director, on Instagram, like thanking him for creating a film that meant so much to me, and he replied with like, thanks so much, Ashlee, haha, you better get ready for chapter 2, and I was like, haha, thanks Andy, I will. I did it. Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching. Please talk to me in the comments about this film. A lot of people have been talking to me in the comments of my other like It video, which is a fun time. But yeah, talk to me about this film, about the Ready stuff in the comments. I really, really just want to talk about this film a lot. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up or down. If you didn't, that's okay too. You're entitled to your opinion. Subscribe if you want to see me making really like dorky videos. I basically just every now and then make videos about things I stand, like fandoms I'm in. If you want to see any of that, give me a subscribe. I love you very much, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah.